Hello, everyone, and welcome into the program this evening. My name is Nathan. I am one half of the Hill Brothers, and today, even though it's only January the 24th, 2024, we have some North Carolina football news as the brand new 2024 North Carolina football schedule was released just a couple of hours ago. Was looking forward to seeing how this schedule was going to play out. Honestly, in my opinion, don't think it laid out too bad. I think this is honestly a pretty easy schedule for North Carolina, all things considered. Games in some places I wasn't expecting them to be, but looks like it's going to be a pretty good schedule for North Carolina and really gives this coaching staff no excuses to come within that objective and goal they set last year of 10 wins isn't enough. I know we got some questions at the quarterback position. Curious to see how that gets played out, but I think it's going to be a good schedule. But let's take a look at this grandiose thing. So, North Carolina opens up this year, as we know, on a Thursday, August 29th. It's kind of small on my screen there. August 29th against Minnesota. This is in Minnesota, and we plan the home and home with them. Last year came into our stadium, was at that game. Golden Gopher fans were everywhere. Big Ten team, and that was a fun sight to see. Then they come home and have Charlotte, then NC Central. Two games we know should be pretty easy walks in the park for North Carolina. They're probably going to need those games to get ready. Like you said, this is going to be a whole brand new, pretty much offensive line is going to be out there, brand new quarterback to the system, couple new pieces, and Jeff Kahn's going to be getting his defense up. So they're really going to need those two games to get themselves ready there. And then they have James Madison, which is going to be an interesting game because George Pettaway just transferred over there. So I'm very curious to see how that ends up shaking out, the drama that'll be going in that game. And honestly, I really want to be in the house for that game. James Madison, a team that was undefeated this year, I believe. And I think they lost in their bowl game. Or no, not the bowl game. One of the second to last games they lost to, I think it was App State, as a matter of fact. Lost to them, but had a great season this past year over there, and curious to see how that goes, and especially curious to see how George Pettaway does this year. Then they have Duke. Now, this is a game I was actually kind of surprised they put so early. As we know, last year, this past season, they were in the bottom three of the year. Curious to see how that is. I don't know if that's just because of the, everybody hit the portal and left the program, considering that Mike Elko left and departed and went over to Texas A&M. But with the new hire of Manny Diaz, I believe it is, that they brought in, I'm curious to see how that goes for them. And I wonder if they're kind of putting them early in the schedule because they don't expect Duke to be that good. Maybe so. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess anything can happen in college football. But up until recent years, Mike Elko was doing a great job with them, and Duke was not that great. There it is. App State beat them in the last game of the season. I figured it. I know they lost the bowl game or they lost in the last game of the season, but curious to see how that JMU game is going to go because that's going to be a fun one. So let's kick on over here to Pitt. And I'm actually going to switch over here to the main schedule so you guys can see it's right in the middle of the screen. So, and I'm doing this because I got to get my bye week straight. But October the 5th, Pitt comes to town. That's a game that last year North Carolina won. Honestly, the past couple of years now have won pretty handily, about 20 points, give or take, at the average of the point differential there, and hoping to keep that win streak going against Pitt. Pitt's been a team that's been really hard for North Carolina in recent years, and Carolina's given away a couple of games, especially the one 2 seasons ago. I guess you can say 3 seasons ago now that 2023 is done, but. Curious to see how that goes. That's going to be, I expect Pitt to have a big bounce back year this year, considering the guys they brought in and everything. They really underachieved last year, so I'm curious to see how that is. And Georgia Tech, this game's coming right about the same time it did this season. And isn't it just fun? Georgia Tech, a bye week, then Virginia. The two games that really, really started the downfall of our season this year are in reverse order this year. But we get Georgia Tech at home. This is a game Carolina must must win. They have to win it. They can't lose this game again. Georgia Tech is a walking cancer to the North Carolina Tar Heels, and they've got to be able to defeat it. Ring that bell at the end of it, bro. Ring the bell at the end of it. Get cancer free. Knock this game out of the park. This game gets on my nerves every single year. I can't stand this game. But Georgia Tech's a good squad. Brent Key's really got that team going over there, and they've got something going for sure over there. Then they hit a bye week, which comes at a great time. Right there, pretty much middle of the season. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in. So a little over half the season's done there. And then you just got the back 5. And the back 5, pretty easy. And not only that, you get another bye week. So no early bye week this year, which I like. I honestly like. Get some games out of the way. Go ahead and knock out your Minnesota. That'll be a fun game. That'll be an interesting game. Knock out your Charlotte, your NC Central, your JMU. Get Duke out of the way. Get a couple of, tough contests in Pitt and Georgia Tech out of there, and then go on the road after your bye week on October 26th, knocking down Virginia's doorstep. Hopefully they go up into Charlottesville and they take care of business. They need to. The past, last season, I was in attendance. There's a vlog for that. You can go watch that. Go to the vlog section, the playlist section of the YouTube. If you're on Twitter, go to the YouTube page. You can see that. North Carolina lost a 10th in the nation. 6-0 in the season, and let I think 1-win Virginia team at that time come into Keenan and beat them. I was there in attendance for that. Got to see that. Appreciate that, Alan. That was good. Good tickets, brother. But they got to go up there and win that game. 2 seasons ago, the 21-20 or the 22, the 21-22 season. Yeah, that's right. Carolina went up there, and it should not have been a game, but it daggum was. So Carolina's got to go up there, and they're kind of starting something, with Virginia that's looked very similar to what they've been going on there with Georgia Tech. So those 2 games right there, those are, in my opinion, your 2 biggest trap games, in my opinion, there. And if Carolina is, let's just say they're undefeated at that time, or theoretically, let's say you have, I don't know what Minnesota's got, but let's say you got 1 loss to Minnesota potentially, and then a loss to Pitt. You're really going to be needing this game. So you'll have 1 loss in the ACC, and you'll be going forward, and you got some tough games coming up, especially that Florida State game and the NC State game there. But after Virginia, on the road again, back-to-back weeks, the Road Warriors. Now, I know North Carolina basketball has been making the road look easy, but and Carolina was, the football team was making the road look easy this year for a certain stint in time, but the road was not good to them the last couple of weeks. The Georgia Tech game, of course, and then in the bowl game. But they're going to be tested. That Virginia game, it's a rivalry game. It's going to be one of those games. But then you got to go down to Tallahassee, a team in Florida State. I know they lost a lot, but they're also retooling as well in the portal. The class that they've brought in, they've flipped a lot of commits. Mike Norvell's doing a great job down there. Personally, I can't stand Florida State. That's just me. But man, they are doing a great job down there, retooling that team and that roster. And they're going to be pissed coming into this year. They're going to have something to prove, and I hate to know what that game's going to be like. And Florida State has not been good to North Carolina. I don't know what it is about Mac Brown at Florida State. He played for them, but for some reason, when they show up into town, they're knocking him out every single time. So Mac Brown's got to get a little get-back game here. If he wants to achieve what he says he wants to achieve, which is 9 wins isn't enough, if we're still holding that from last year, which I'm assuming we should be, especially with the hires you've done brought in and everything, that's going to be a big-time game. And a game I'm probably going to favor Florida State more than likely in that game, to say the least. But who knows? Who knows what that team, our North Carolina team, will look like at that time. Then of the bye week, you're probably going to need it because you're going to be, having 2 games, back-to-back weeks that are high intensity and high emotional, and you're going to need a little break. And then you kick in the last 3 games. You get a bye week. Instead of playing Campbell, you actually just get a bye week, which, they kind of go hand in hand, but you risk of injury of 1. And to your last 3, Wake Forest, at Boston College, at home NC State. Those 3 games, you'd best beat Wake Forest, you'd best beat Boston College. And even though NC State has done a great job, and again, let me preface this. I know I'm a North Carolina fan. I hate NC State. I hate them. Baby brother. They piss me off when they talk. They just talk too much, man. They talk more than Duke fans, and that's saying something. But you got to win that game. Got to win that game. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, buts, questions about it. You got to win that game. You can't let it go 4 straight. Not 4 straight. Not 4 straight years. You cannot let that happen. In your house, the last time they're in your house, they planted the flag in the middle of the field, pissed me off, made a cheesecake that night. But still, you have got to beat that team this year. It's going to be a tough game because NC State, and hate to give it to them, but Dave Dorton, they have created a really good ball club over there, and that's going to be bad. It's going to be a hard game, man. That's going to be a hard game to go there. But quick look at this schedule. Let's just do a quick little look here. Let's say, and I'm just going to do it based off of the information I have right now. I'm going to go straight down the list, and I'm going to tell you what are wins and what are losses. Quick takes right here. I want you guys, if you're in the comments, do the same as well as I'm going through there. So, Minnesota, I'm going to say a win. Going to be tough, but a good win there. I think the defense comes out with great pressure there potentially. I think you get the win against Minnesota. You come home, you get a win against Charlotte, a win against NC Central, a win against JMU. Gonna be fun. We'll see. You go on the road to Duke. You beat them. You lose to Pitt. Right your wrongs against Georgia Tech. Beat Georgia Tech. Go on your bye week. Come out. Go down to Virginia. Beat them. Go to Tallahassee. You lose that game. Bye week. You win against Wake Forest. You win against Boston College. And this is the year you finally beat State again. 10-2. I say 10-2. That achieves the goal, right? That achieves the goal. I'm excited for all the newness that's happening and curious to see how this goes. Be sure and let me know down in the comments, after this video is already posted, what you guys think our wins and our losses will be and why are we losing those games? Tell me that in the comments. I want to know down below. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.
You don't want none.
I'm good, I was need, I'm dying, I was